We are coming live from Doola HQ. It is another week, another weekly live. And we had a ton of questions that came in last week. So, to everyone joining, welcome. We do this every single week. And the goal is we love the live chat. So, if there are questions coming in, we have folks tuning in from around the world. You can drop them in the chat from whatever platform you're on. And we always prioritize the live chat every single week. Now, today's set topic, though, is we always like to come in with something that we're going to cover. And I always try to share things that we've done at Doola that have worked and that haven't worked. I think that's what people are mostly interested in, candidly, because you want to learn from others' mistakes. And I think there's a ton of value in doing that. Today's topic is customer-centric growth, which is how to build a loyal customer base. And what I'm going to do is actually share a couple things that we have learned throughout the process of Doola on how I think about customer-centric growth and how I think about building a loyal customer base. So as a reminder, again, please drop things into the chat. We got a shout out here from LOL Trolls-T7N. Hi, Arjun. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I hope you aren't trolling me here. But if you have any questions, you can let me know as well. So here's what we're going to do. Again, please don't be shy. Drop in the chat if you have any questions whatsoever. And today's topic is covering through building a customer-centric team, building a customer-centric product, and how you can actually better serve your customers. So let me start by actually saying the very first thing I think matters when it comes to building a loyal customer base is I heard this line, which I really like, and I truthfully think there's improvement I can personally do and we can do at Doola is, do you know your customers so well that you could act as them or script them in a movie? Now, I've never scripted a movie before, but behind the scenes, if you were to actually script someone in a movie, you need to know everything about them. What time do they wake up? What do they like to wear? What keeps them up at night? And then the actor becomes that person. They know everything about them, so that's how they can truly embody the role. And that's what the greatest actors do. Um, I'm forgetting, I think it's Timothy Chalamet, if I'm getting this movie right, but I believe when he was acting as Bob Dylan, for 5 years he trained for the role. And when I first heard that, I said, for 5 years, what could you do for 5 years? But you become the person. So I think that's the same thing too. Could you become your own customer? What's their motivation? Why are they starting? What news sources do they read? What YouTube channels do they follow? What do they do in their free time? All of those things, if you know that not only helps you build the right product, but it helps you market to them, speak to them in the right way too. So that's the very first thing. And I think a huge benefit here is if you are building for a customer that you know best, which would be you felt the problem, huge advantages. Because if you know the problem, you just think about, hey, what questions did I have? And that is a huge hack. So I think that's another big thing is that when you are starting, if you are your own customer, that's a hack because this feedback loop is in your head. You don't have to go talk to anyone. But eventually, I think it's good to get out your own head. So regardless, whether you're your own customer or you're building for someone else, if you have zero understanding of the problem set, I think that can also be good because you can approach the problem and perspective from first principles versus saying, oh, this is the way it has to be done. You question, but you need to have a tight feedback loop with those people so you can understand the problem. So the question or the takeaway here, I would say is, what problem are you solving for these customers? And the best way to find out is to talk to them, either in your head because you're that customer, or, and I'd say and/or going out and talking to them specifically. Okay, we got another comment here from AGM or AG Merchant 1995. Hello, what is going on? If there's any questions too drop them in the chat. I always like to cover them, but I'll give a shout out here. So the next thing I would go through is my favorite quote of all time. Yeah, I'd say that is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Every Olympian wants to win gold. Every startup wants to become a unicorn. Every company wants to be customer-centric. So what's the difference? These are all the goals. What's your system? You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Systems are what lead to goals. Now, that does not mean you should not set goals, because if you don't set goals, you don't know which direction you're going. It's like you could train to run a marathon, but if you run in the wrong direction, you won't complete the marathon. You need to go in the right direction, and having the goal is actually a very important thing. It sets the direction, and oftentimes that is what leads to, you have the goal that leads to the motivation, which can allow you to get started on something. But with that preface, systems are incredibly important to not only get towards customer centricity, but to show customers that you're actually listening. So there's a couple best practices I think, which we try to embody, and I think we can always do better, is one, personal quick responses. Your customer literally bought your product or is using your product. They are the most important person to serve. You are serving them. So if they have a question, the more you can respond quickly and promptly and empathetically. And the other thing I've found is that customers are so understanding of mistakes when they happen if you're upfront with them. So we've actually seen some of the most hairy issues we face in terms of mistakes or things breaking. If we're just upfront with the customer and fully acknowledge it and say, hey, here's what we're going to do to turn around, we've actually had some of those customers turn into our biggest evangelists versus taking an approach of running from the issue. So it's hard to do, and we're not perfect too. I don't want to make it sound like we are, but if you can share publicly with the customer and directly, hey, this is what happened, and here's what we're going to try to make it right, not run from it. Ultimately, I was surprised, but people are more understanding because they understand. I mean, we're human at the end of the day. We can't be perfect. So ultimately, it's how quick can you go from mistake to resolution and sharing that candidly with the customer too. Okay, we got a comment here. Out of topic questions can I have? Yes, please go ahead. If it's related to customer centricity or not, you can drop a question here. Okay, step 3 to come back, and again, please chime in with questions, is how do you actually create an emotional connection with your customers? And if you think about the most powerful brands, that's actually what they do. They create an emotional connection. Oftentimes they can be divisive. Think about companies or brands like Harley Davidson or Nike. You the second I say those, you probably have a reaction. It could be bad, it could be positive, negative. That's the point. It creates an immediate thought or perspective you have. So I would say that at the end of the day, I do think, especially in an AI age, products are becoming more commoditized. What it ultimately wins, I think the biggest and best companies do both, is they build powerful brand and have powerful marketing and an incredible product too, because the product markets itself. So the more emotional connection you can create, that can either be from your mission, it can be from community, it can be from the way you speak to customers. When they're choosing between multiple options, and there's always going to be competition in options, that's ultimately why, and if you think to yourself, why you chose to go to a certain restaurant or even buy a certain tool if you were evaluating a few companies, there's probably some emotional connection whether or not you realized it. Okay, question here that came in. Can I have my Dubai company own a USA company? Fantastic question. Yes, you can. So you can actually start a US LLC and have the owner of the LLC or the member be an individual, or it can be an entity. So what you can actually do is have this Dubai entity be the member of the LLC. Technically here it's the owner, it's the member. That's what an LLC is called. You have members. It's a single member or multi-member, but the member could be an individual or a company. So great question. And yes, to Dubai, to answer the question, you can, but this applies to any type of international entity type. Now, what I would recommend is talking to a local tax professional to understand the implications of doing that. There could be differences depending on your country and of whether you as an individual versus you have an entity as the member or the owner. But great question, AG Emergent 1995. Yes, you can have a Dubai company own or be the member of a US LLC. Back to customer centricity. Another tip is personalization at scale. One of Y Combinator's early principles, this is my favorite YC principle, is do things that don't scale. These are things like sending emails to customers, sending them a thank you note. People are really surprised when you take the time out of your day to respond. When I email customers, sometimes people are shocked, like, hey, is this actually you? They'll ask if it's a bot, and then I reply. It's an email. It takes maybe a couple seconds or a minute, but it has asymmetric upside because a customer says, whoa, there's actually people behind this company and product. It's not just technology. So this could be as big as sending a cake to someone or a 1-year anniversary note or wishing people birthdays. That's actually one thing I'd love to do is I'm actually going to write this down here. I just thought of it. Customer B Day. I would love to, for founders who work with Doola, know their birthday, so we can send them like a note on their birthday or like a virtual cake, and just ask for that information. Now, you don't have to share it. We can make it optional, but we could say, hey, if you let us know your birthday, we'll give you a little surprise or something. So there's so many things you can do. Birthdays, anniversary notes, just personal emails, but personalization at scale, it works. When you're an early company, it's the hack, I think, to why people would choose you versus a bigger competitor. But when you're scaling too, it's so easy to think, oh, we can't do that anymore. We're a big company. I disagree. I think oftentimes it's a skill issue or a scale issue, not a should we do it issue. Do you help with that? This question is around, can I have a Dubai company own a USA company? Yes, we do. We help founders globally, over 175 countries. You can actually scan this QR code right here. or just head to doola.com and you can schedule a free demo with our team. So more than happy to help. You can schedule right here, chat with our team. We've helped many founders from the UAE and Dubai start a US entity and actually set up the structure too. So please do schedule a consultation if you have questions there. Final customer centricity tip I want to cover is loyalty and advocacy. So one thing you can do here is ultimately, if you think about the last time you referred a product, because I thought about this, I didn't do it for the monetary gain. I didn't refer the product. I'll give you an example. We have this coffee machine. It's the Ninja Lux Cafe. It's incredible. I've posted videos of me making coffee. I tell my friends about it. Not once have I said, oh, before I tell the friend or before I post, let me go get the referral link and post it in so I can make some money. Not once. I did it because it's just a nice coffee machine. And ultimately, if you think about why you refer products, it's because you want to be in the know. That's actually why. I think it's actually weirdly some sort of status thing where you want to show people, hey, I'm an early adopter. I found this technology and I want to tell you about it because I want to help you, my friends or other people. I want to show other people that I found this tool and shared it. I think that's actually what happens. You experience something so good and the product is so good it's worth talking about. Another thing I've talked about is my bed. I have this sleep-enabled bed, which I talk about because I think it's cool. Last night it was cold in New York, so I warmed it up. And here I am talking about it on a live stream. So I'm not looking for my referral code. I'm just talking about it because it's a cool experience. So step one is having a good product markets itself. And that is the ultimate way to drive referrals, is just having a good product. But the second thing is you can actually have incentives. So for example, we have an incentive program where you can actually earn a commission or a cut from referring a founder. You can even use that as a discount on your upcoming renewal too. So that's the other thing I would say too, is that having an actual referral program can give people a monetary benefit. I don't think ultimately you need the monetary benefit, or let me put it this way. If you have the best monetary benefit, but the product's not good, you're not going to get referrals because as a person, think about it. Why would you want to refer something to make a quick buck if you know the person you're referring to is going to have a bad experience? Because you're next on the line. They're going to come back to you and say, why did you refer this? And I don't think you would want to just make a quick buck to ruin that relationship. So that's why you have to have the great product first. But then I would say the sweetener, the multiplier, is having that actual referral commission program. So I think it's good to have both, but it always starts with having a fantastic product or experience which sells itself. Got another question that came in. We got a comment here. Oh, first of all, comment here from MUR or Moo Per Dev. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Matching the emoji. And then AG emoji. Thanks. Of course. Again, any questions, you can schedule a no strings attached consultation right there. We're more than happy to help. We got a comment here from Pranav. Hi, Arjun. Hey, how's it going, Pranav? Any questions, you can drop them in the chat. More than happy to answer. To summarize, customer-centric growth, couple things. If you have loyal customers, it's the ultimate flywheel. You get feedback. You improve the product. It's a blessing. You get that feedback. And then when you do that, customers are like, whoa, they actually listen to me. So they'll talk and word of mouth happens. Then you get more customers, which leads to more feedback. So it is the most beautiful flywheel. Word of mouth is my favorite thing. Anytime I see it, it makes my day. It really does because it's the most powerful form of marketing. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, but it takes hard work to do. You have to build a great product, provide a good experience. Next thing is to be curious, consistent, and authentic. Again, people can understand if you make mistakes. And I'm saying this almost to remind myself, hey, mistakes will happen. They'll continue to happen. Just tell customers, hey, this is a bad experience. Thank you for telling us and getting the feedback. Here's what we can do now. Here's what we can't do. Just be real with them. And I got a question for everyone here. I challenge you all to think, what's one thing you can do to better know your customers this week? I think oftentimes the easiest thing is just email one of them and say, hey, can I hop on a call with you just to learn more about your business, how we can better serve you, and give you a preview of what we're building. And so many times people want to be heard and they want to be a part of something. So I'd actually go one level further here. I would challenge you to reach out to someone who had a bad experience with your product because you can learn so much from those customers. I actually, candidly, I used to maybe even get a bit frustrated when, I would get CC'd on an email from a customer because they were experiencing something and they thought they had to reach out to me. It's a blessing now. Anytime that happens, it's a sign that, hey, there's a way we can improve here. And I actually will oftentimes reach out to them directly and say, hey, let's hop on a call. We talk with our product team. What exactly happened? And you learn so much there. So even having that chance for the customer to email me is huge because if they didn't do that, maybe they go to social media and they post something. Or even without that, maybe they silently just leave and you have no way to address the issue. I think ultimately Winners prioritize truth over feelings. And I want to know, it obviously feels bad when we promise something or market something we don't deliver, but I want to know the truth there because it's the only way we can improve. So I think it's ultimately a blessing. That's my challenge for anyone listening is this week, talk to one customer. I challenge you to talk to a customer who had a bad experience. And if you are building and you don't have customers yet, do a user research interview. There is so much you can learn from doing that specifically. Okay, that is a wrap for today's topic. So as a reminder for everyone, we come live every week. There's a specific topic we'll cover too. If there are any questions in the chat, we like to cover those every single week as well. As a reminder here, AG Emergent, fantastic question. Can I have my do I company own a USA company here? If there are any other questions also that come in during the week, we will try to cover them in the following week as well. And for today, that's a wrap. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And once again, please, any questions on Doola, you can schedule a demo here. Entity formation, bookkeeping, business taxes. If you have any questions for me personally, you can find me on social media. More than happy to answer as well. Thank you so much, and LLC everybody next week.